Hello, hello, hello. All right, and we're live. Just to make sure, I'm going to double check myself to see if we're good to go. Uh, I don't want to be talking to the air. I kind of feel like I already am, but oh well. Okay. All right. Hmm. I don't see me live. Okay, there you go. That's weird. Oh, there you go. All right. Well, let's get started. Perfect. Thanks for the confirmation. So we're gonna have a few guests on today, and we're gonna be talking about exactly what you see on the thumbnail. That is the Salt Lake City Temple and the facade, that they try to put up, and just a bunch of lies. So before we get into all that, I gotta run that intro. So be right back. And you can change it in a nick of time. Even if you decide to leave the stars behind. You say one word, I say amazing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You say one word, I say amazing. Yeah. All right. And we're back. So yeah, today we're gonna have hopefully three guests. Um, we have James from Come Alive Ministries, of course. Welcome, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me.
He's no stranger to Kingdom Within's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Always welcome, brother. Always welcome. And then we also have Loyal Tangi coming in here soon. Um, he, if he's not busy. And then we have the wife. I don't know where she went, but if you're gonna join, what's going on? So that's the name. You gonna say something? Okay, I guess not. Um, so yeah, today we're gonna be talking about the Salt Lake City Temple and how much of it is such a lie, you know. So before I get started, I want to give the guest some time to talk about what they know about the church. Starting off with James.
I mean, uh, I was taken in by some Mormons. What I know about them is they're very kind people. Probably the most kind denomination I've ever come across. And I've been through plenty of denominations in my time that I've been seeking truth in Scripture. Uh, they definitely believe the heliocentric model or heliocentrism, however you want to say it. Um, there's some things that I could safely say I don't agree with, um, just off the top of my head. But um, for the most part, why we're here today is Very interesting, in my opinion. And I think you'll see once we start talking about it. It has to do with the Mormon Temple in Salt Lake City. I don't know what else to say, uh, Tala.
Well, like you, I I second that when you said about how they're kind people.
Yes.
For the most part, they are. You know, like I was raised Pentecostal, you know, and I think most people know how Pentecostal churches are. I mean, for example, you got Joel Osteen. I'm pretty sure you guys know he claims to be Pentecostal, and then you got Stephen Furtick, churches like that. You got there's so many, you know, and they're not as nice. They're kind of similar to Baptists, and from my experience,
Right.
uh, they're sort of
I was
strict,
raised
right?
Pentecostal myself.
Oh, you were.
Yeah, I come from a tongue speaking Pentecostal church.
Okay, okay, that's
That
cool.
was my
So,
first church, the
yep,
Calvary
same
Temple
here. Yep,
in
mine's
Denver,
was
Colorado.
Midway Samoan Assembly of God. So it was
Okay.
a Assembly of God organization, and of course they're 501c3 churches.
Right.
But yeah, man, like when I got converted to the Mormon Church. What was it? 2012? No, 2011 Christmas Day,
Wow.
2011. Yeah, so I feel like they did it on purpose because they wanted it to make it seem more special to me, and they did. They tricked me, you know. When I got baptized, they're like, "Well, Tala, today's Christmas Day. What better day for you to be a part of the church?" You know, so I'm like, I'm like, yeah, you know what, you're right. You know, you're right. This is amazing. You know, it was meant to be. And so the guy comes and then he dips me in the water, and I get baptized, and then he looks at me and he starts motivating me to go and say something, on the pulpit. He goes, "All right, so we need you to go and say something about your testimony and how you feel about the church, all right?" And I'm like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting to do that, but okay. Now that you mentioned it, I'll go ahead and do that." And so yeah, go ahead. You can go up right now. So I go on the pulpit, and I honestly I was kind of stuck. Because I didn't truly have a testimony from the heart. I didn't really have a testimony. I was just trying to make them please them basically.
Right.
So they're all smiling at me real big, and like it was kind of creepy, man. Like, to be honest, I looked from the pulpit, and I was looking down at them, and I was like, "Whoa, this reminds me of that scene in that movie. I saw it before I got truly saved, but it was that movie. What's it called? Oh my goodness, I forgot what it's called. I'm getting a brain fart right now. But yeah, that's how they look. They just look crazy, and then I that's what was making me get stuck. So I said what I said. I said, yeah, I guess, I'm part of the church, and I believe that the Church of Jesus Christ is true. And they want you to say that. A lot of them say that when they go up on the pulpit and they say their testimonies. I know that the Church of Jesus Christ is true. And that's another thing that didn't sit well with me too. It's like, what the heck, man? Why do we have to keep confirming that this church is true? If it's true, let the fruit show, you know? Let it be true. You don't have to say it outright. So that's one thing that didn't sit well with me. But I said it. I said it. I admit it. I said it when in 2011 on Christmas Day. And after that, I said, in the name of Jesus Christ, amen. And then they came up to me and they all hugged me, and bro, people that I didn't even know, like people that I just met, I'm just meeting, and they're like, "Hey, come here, bring it in." trying to hug me, and I'm like, all right, I guess. And so, that made me feel good. To be honest, I did feel good. I felt good about it. And I was like, wow, I felt that warm feeling inside my bosom, just like the Church of Jesus, just like they said I would. So 2011, I get baptized, and then 2019, I get my temple recommend. Okay? So, in order to get your temple recommend, you have to abide by their rules, and you have to go through some regulations, and like they give you like a paper where you got to fill out, and you got to check all these boxes, whatever.
Is it like a trading process?
It's so basically
Yeah.
they even have hospitals, bro. If you go to the hospital, I kid you not, when my wife gave birth to our oldest, we went there, and then they gave me a clipboard, and they were like, "Oh," I looked at the clipboard, and it said, "Are you Mormon?" Bro, that scared me. I was like, "Are you kidding me? You got the doctor papers, the hospital papers, asking if I'm Mormon?" Yeah, that's a big red flag to me, man. So I was like, "Nah, man." So the whole time I was in the church, put it this way, I wasn't in the church. I was in it, but I wasn't in it, if that makes sense. So, but yeah, now that all you guys know, you know, that's one of the reasons why what led me to truth. I had to know the truth. I just had to know the truth. Which religion was true? You know, I didn't believe the Pentecostal way was true because there were so many things that didn't sit well with me. Uh, and I can go through a whole list of things, but I won't go into that now. But um, so I went to the LDS church and the Mormon church, and I felt like they were the true church. And then I found out so many things about them, and now I'm here. Now I don't go to any denomination. I don't go to any 501c3 church. None. My church is my family. My church is the body of Christ. That's my church. It's not a specific building where you can go and call it church. So I nothing against nothing against the people who do go to those churches. I'm not saying, you're wrong for doing that. By all means, go ahead. But don't let it control you. Don't let it you know direct your path according to their doctrine. Just go according to the Bible. That's what I would say. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I found out that the church wasn't true. I found out that the president of the Mormon church, he supports the jibby jabby.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a
So
red flag.
that's a huge red flag.
A big red
So
flag.
yeah. So
Yeah.
he even displayed it on the news, supposedly him getting the jibby jab. Who knows? It probably wasn't even the jibby jab, but it's a stage, and they want to make it look that way and advertise it so that people in Utah would get the jibby jab. And right when I saw that, I was like, no, 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 no. That's it. I'm done. I'm gonna call this church out. I'm gonna call it out already, and I did. Uh, I made a video earlier on when I made my YouTube channel. But yeah. So I looked at the buildings. I watched what video was that? I think it was Conspiracy RS. He did a video on these buildings like this. Let me show you. Let me share it real quick. So he was doing buildings on the Salt Lake City Temple and just other buildings, like cathedrals and stuff. And then when he got to the Salt Lake City Temple, he was he said that what's that called? That it wasn't built by the people. He said it wasn't built by the people, and he said because they had horse and buggy that time, how in the world are they able to construct such a megalithic structure such as this? How are they able to do that? That's just crazy. Like, and then on top of that, you think about how they built it, right? So even if they did build it, how? How did they do it? So that's when we go here. And what does that say? It says the workers painstakingly chiseled out the canyon walls, huge granite blocks that weighed from 2,500 to 5,600 pounds each, and carefully transported them to Temple Square, first by ox drawn wagon and later by railroad.
That's
That's,
bull honky.
yeah, that's
You mean
crazy,
to tell
bro.
me an ox and a wagon can carry 2.5 plus tons?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. So, I mean, what do you think about that, bro? So far,
I just said it. I mean, 2,000 pounds is a ton. I mean, can an ox even carry a ton? I mean,
right?
2,000 pounds? How many oxes were? I mean, I guess it doesn't go into detail. It doesn't say how many oxes pulled that wagon. All right.
Yeah, that's
But,
crazy.
and then how tall is it? Isn't it like 200 feet tall?
So it is, yep, 210 feet tall.
So, you, I'm pretty sure they didn't record having any cranes at that time. I mean,
Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, it's ridiculous, man. How
I mean,
they
I've been in construction. Okay, I know what it's like to build things. Uh, it requires heavy machinery.
right,
Yeah,
definitely. Yep. Let's go to the comments real quick or the chat. I got some
yeah.
people in here asking some stuff. Okay, Loyal Tangy says, "Hey guys, I'll be there soon." Welcome, Deb Woods. Says hello everyone. Marky Rizzo, welcome, bro. Got that tinfoil hat on. He said hat
Amen.
swag. Yep.
Amen.
Hey brother, you feeling better? Leaving the church building is usually the best thing to do. 100% correct, homemaker. Andrea says I grew up in a few denoms. Also, my husband is from Colorado. Oh, okay.
Amen.
Getting there, Deb. Just laying in bed, back to work tomorrow. I'll keep you in my prayers, bro, for a speedy recovery, man. Yes, homemaker. Yes. Uh, oh wow, you were sick too.
Bro, I've been
Okay.
hearing about a lot of people getting sick. My wife just got home from taking my great grandma to urgent care. So I mean, a lot of prayers are going to be going out from this house. That's for sure.
Wow. Well, I'll keep you in my prayers too.
Yeah.
It's been like 5 days now. I'm so over it. Oh wow. Do you know exactly what it is? What's is it like a fever? What is it? A flu? Just flu season or something like that? Andrea, I found this channel the same way from Facebook. I don't say much in that group though. Nice people though. I love Lindsay. She's very smart. Okay. So yeah, James was a part of that group.
Yeah, I was a moderator for a while. I left. Uh,
Yeah.
I joined a. I'll just put it this way: it was nothing personal. I just opted out for a smaller private group.
Okay, Marky, you need to start taking elderberry and get in the sun. Nice homemaker. Yes, she needs to. I don't comment much either, but the YouTube vids I usually take a look at. I stay in the sun for the baby. I don't want to get some elderberry juice though. Heard it's great. Elderberry works so good. You need to get some. You're in the great state full of sun. I was gonna get some from groundedextracts.com. Okay. All right. old saying I remember is sitting in a church doesn't make you a Christian any more than sitting in a garage makes you a car. Exactly. Well
That's
said,
true.
brother.
That's true.
Well said. What is that? This is what it is. That's what it is. I don't want to say it because I don't want to get canceled. Yeah, that is a good saying. Still pray for the tinfoil hat factory family.
Yeah. Okay. So what she just said, Tala. Crystal's husband has been in the hospital um, for quite some time, and so I forget his name. Pray for him because at the moment it has something to do with his, I think his leg, but we don't know what the problem is. He was in the ICU he had to go in the ICU like twice, as far as I know. So um,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Loyal Tangi, I'll email it to you, brother. I'll email it to you right now. 1 second.
and talk about what Loyal Tangi said. I the reason why I haven't stepped back in a 501c3 church is mainly because they all preach futurism. I'm a post millennial Christian believer, and so if I could find a church like that, I would definitely attend. They spray the sickness. Yes, I agree. They spray it. Just look up at the sky. That's where it's coming from.
Alright, I send it to you, Loyal Tangi. Via email. They spray the sickness. Who sprays the
Yes.
sickness? Oh, yeah, you're talking about the chemtrails?
Yes.
Yep.
The Frankenskies.
Yep. Who's this? Cat Gasper. King Asa was rebuked by the Lord for going to see a physician instead of going to the Lord. What?
Yeah, that's true.
Where's that at? Man, I would love to save that. Because I don't believe in going to physicians all the time either.
I mean, I wish I could find a holistic doctor that, uh, you know, these pharmaceuticals are all petroleum based poisons. I'm scheduled to see an ENT on January 31st, and I don't know what else to think, but I just don't want to. I don't want to have to go to the doctor, but I have this sinus problem that's been bothering me for so long, and I'm sick of them telling me that it's allergies and that it's a virus because I don't have any symptoms other than you know, I suspect it could be mold or if it's fungal. So I don't know. I don't know if anybody in the chat has any recommendations for how to use colloidal silver, for instance, because I just purchased some of that and I've been consuming it orally.
Yep. So, anyways, back to the Salt Lake City Temple. Now, I made a part one of this video. I made a part one of the Salt Lake City Temple, and I didn't mention some of these photos. I didn't even show them because I didn't realize they were here. So this is what I really wanted to share with you guys. And fun fact, I was trying to make a thumbnail. The thumbnail that you guys see, I was trying to make a thumbnail, and I kid you not, James being my witness, when I was trying to make that thumbnail, they wouldn't let me save it. Even when I tried to screenshot it, even when I tried to download it from my phone, they just wouldn't let me. So
It even
I,
made your app crash.
yeah, it made my app crash. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but I'm glad I figured out a way to do it. Hopefully they don't cancel me. But yeah, we'll start off with this image. Of course, they're gonna put a year right on the image, and I call it an image because I don't believe it's a photograph. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's an image. And show them the people on the ground before you show them the people on the roof.
all right. So let me go open this image. Now we'll start with the people on the bottom. I mean, to be honest with you, the people on the bottom still look a little bit off, if I were to be honest. But they look better than the people on the top of the building. Because look, you can see that these two individuals here casting a shadow here on the left-hand side. If you guys can see that, let me just make it bigger. There you
I know
go.
I can see it. I see the shadow. I can see their hands. It looks like I could see a face. Just some detail. You could see this guy's shirt
Yeah,
uh, inside his jacket, I guess, or whatever they call those, his blazer. Um,
yeah.
yeah.
Like it's not 100% pitch black, but when you go up here, look at the right-hand side. You got two men here, completely black, and then you got these five guys up here, completely black, and then they sort of look like doubles, and it just looks fake because,
I mean, why aren't they lit up? Look at the sun. It's lighting everything else up.
yep, it's lighting the building up from this side. And some people can say, well, it's not lighting the left side up. That doesn't matter because look
It's
at the right
lighting it up
side.
better than it is them.
Yeah, and the right side is being lit up, but when you look at the men, none of them, not one of them are being lit up. They're just completely black.
Because let me
That's
say this,
just,
on the left side, you could still see detail.
yeah, you can. You
You
can
can
see
still see
detail,
detail. You can't see no detail on them. What are they, shadow people?
right? It's so weird because the dynamic range, you can definitely make out the dynamic range on the left and right side of the building. So you see different shades of colors, different shades of yellowish tints and gray, whites, some blacks, brown. But when you go to the men, you see nothing but black. It makes no sense. You can't even see the color of their skin.
It's just a silhouette.
Yeah, it's just a silhouette. So yeah, that's the first photo. It gets better. So 1 second, let's go. The second photo I wanted to show. Right here. So this is a picture of the foundation. This is the foundation of the Salt Lake City Temple. But this is not a photograph, guys.
It looks like
All
it
right?
was a drawing.
Yeah, it looks just like a drawing. The problem with that is it says here they're claiming it to be photos, as you see here. Photos right here
Of Salt
of the
Lake
Salt
Temple
Lake City
construction.
Temple construction. Okay, the following images come from a collage. See, so they don't know what to call it. They say their photos here, and then they say their images here. You see that? The following images come from a collage I dug up in the Church of History catalog. The first image was taken in 1865, and the subsequent photos were generally, uh, with an exception or two, taken 1 year apart until construction was complete. If an image in the slideshow appears wider than the viewable limit, just give it a click to open a wider view. Well, we did that, sir, and what we seem to find is not a photo at all. I mean, just look at the way this looks. If you had your own phone or you have a laptop or a tablet, I'll put this website in the link in the description, and you can go to these photos yourself. They're not photos, but these images. So this is said to be the foundation of the Salt Lake City Temple.
I mean, it looks like a good artist.
Yeah, it does.
I'll give him that. I mean, and there are artists that can do that.
There are.
I mean, there always has been.
So that's that image. And then you got this one right here too. The quarries. You can't really make out what these guys are. Their faces are always black for some odd reason.
Right. You can see their white shirt, but you can't see their face.
Yeah, and then on this one you can see their face. Look at this, the one on the right. You can make out that they're Caucasian, right?
Right.
Let me zoom in a little bit more. See that? You can make out that these guys are somewhat Caucasian. But then
Right.
when you go on the left, these guys are just pitch black.
More silhouettes. More. It's not
Yeah,
real.
it makes no sense. These are all fake, man. Let's go to the next photo. Another painting or
And
drawing.
notice the contrast between each photo.
Yeah,
It's like they're trying to make it look not,
realistic.
what's the huh?
They're trying to make it look realistic.
Yeah, realistic, but I mean vintage.
Yeah, vintage. There you go. That's the
Vintage.
word. This one
See, that looks
so
like it was
fake.
drawn.
Yeah, that
That
definitely
doesn't look
looks
like a
wrong.
photo.
Yep. So that's another one of the foundation. Let's go to the next one. This one.
This
Look at
one.
this one. Isn't that hilarious?
Everything's lit up. I mean, just pay attention.
Everything else is lit up, but these two individuals here, they're not even casting a shadow behind them. Makes no sense. Makes no sense,
Silhouette.
guys.
No way.
Yep.
Shadow
Silhouette right
people.
here. That is just embarrassing. And this church they make over $6 billion every year, guys. All right, so know that.
It's big.
See now this one, you can make out the dynamic range on this one because you can see some detail on this one. See that? But still, it looks
But still,
fake.
he's too dark.
Yeah, it's too dark because if you look behind him, it's all lit up.
And
Even
there's no
bro,
shadow. Where's the sun at?
what's even worse, look at the hole. Look at that tunnel right there, right below him. You can make out the shades of gray in each brick, but you can't make out this guy's face.
What did he just do? Come out of a coal mine?
Right. That's hilarious. Let's go to the next photo. See, very awkward poses. Like Why? It
So you
makes you
can see
wonder.
his sleeve, but you can't see his cheeks.
Exactly. I
And
mean,
his cheeks blend in with his hat. I mean, what are they doing here?
yeah. Makes you wonder. Like some people will be like, "Well, maybe they're African." Nothing against Africans, but that
Uh,
they'll probably make that excuse.
I mean, you would have to you obviously don't believe what we're saying. I mean, if you're going to say that, I mean,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, you're not thinking. Don't lean on that.
Yeah.
But look at the different contrast. You're sliding through. What the deal here?
Yeah.
Why all these different? Look at show this. Is this the one where it looks like a filter?
Yeah. This is the one. Oh no, no, no. It's
The
this
one with
one.
all the scratches?
Yep. They try to make it look like scratches on the lens.
Scratches.
Yep. Welcome, brother. They try to
Hey,
make
my
it look like
brothers.
scratches on the
Hey,
lens.
little Tenji. Scratches.
Yep.
How you doing,
Welcome,
brothers?
brother.
Good.
Good, good. There's an echo coming from.
Hey, little Tenji.
Yep, I'll fix it right now.
Yep.
How you doing,
Welcome,
brothers?
brother.
Good.
Good, good. There's an echo coming from.
It was on. It was on loop.
Yep. We good now?
Yeah, I forgot how to do it. So then I mute the YouTube screen, right? And
Oh,
then
okay.
leave the
Yep.
live stream going, right? I think there's a little delay, but okay, cool. I made it.
You made it, brother.
Good to see you guys.
You
You
too,
too,
bro.
brother.
It's been a while, man.
Oh yeah, I've been definitely in the backstage area here, just paying attention to everything that's going on as much as possible, and just you guys are just rocking it. Both of
Well,
you.
we've been chatting for since before the sun came up, and so we came across this. I mean, we've talked about anything you could think of. I mean, we talked about everything. We've been chatting for so long, and then this topic came up, and I was like, dude, you need to do that. This is content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was when I seen the part of that because I was listening earlier and you were talking about I guess that you were in the Mormon church at one time, Tola.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know we've talked before, and I was raised, from like 5 years old. I was raised Jehovah's Witness, and so
Oh,
the similarities between the two religions, and like
Yeah.
what you were saying, James, that yeah, the Mormons are super nice people, especially on the surface. I don't know deeply on that, but I know as far as Jehovah's Witnesses that they're kind of very similar in their mannerisms, and
yeah.
and they tend to try and love bomb you, like what you were saying when you got baptized, or they were trying, hey, it's a great time to get baptized, Tala, like
Yeah. Yeah.
and then like everybody is love bombing you with the hugs, people you
Yeah.
up. It would kind of remind me of the same thing that happens in the Jehovah Witness church, Oh,
Wow.
look at this cat. she's such a
Awesome.
she's
I
such a
mean, yeah, the Mormon lady that took me in, I mean, she was telling me some bizarre things. She was telling me God has a wife and he's keeping her a secret so you won't blaspheme her name.
oh wow. Yeah.
And they told me we will all have our own planets to rule.
I did hear that one.
Wow.
I did hear
Yeah.
that one. But
That's crazy.
that little point is kind of weird to me because I also thought about the flat plane and how I personally feel there's like we're just in one part of this plane. That's where what we're called a planet or a planet. They call it planet, but it's really like a planet. We're a small part of the infinite plane, is how I
Right.
see
Yeah.
it. And so whatever they've possibly shrunk us down, even because there was giants in them days and after, right? So how did we get so small? I'm going off on crazy subjects here, but getting to the part that I'm talking about is there's just so much we don't know, and we know that everything's been a lie
Yeah.
or twisted. So when you think about the big picture and where we really are, if it's a realm or a plane or a matrix, so many people have different ideas, but
Yeah.
we go through our own brains and reasoning and a research and what we've discovered, and we changed our own thinking to recognize these natural truths that are all around us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
being on or in this realm and stuff has definitely been taken control of by certain individuals that are obviously in opposition to good, but they can't get away with it. They're not going to. There's plenty of everything that shows that evil wants to take over, but it can't. It can't. There's people like us around. There's people we meet every day, good people, and then there's a lot of other people are just product of their society. But getting back to the topic of the Mormon church and stuff, it's very, very similar to the Jehovah's Witness religion that I was raised in.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that part about the getting our own planet, that yeah, I mean, I don't think in outer space, but it would be pretty interesting if at some point, just for thought, if we once all was settled and revealed, it was like, okay, here's the real Jamestown, a continent bigger than
Yeah.
the United States that we have, and this is yours,
Mm-hmm.
build your kingdom, uh, you know,
Oh wow.
just food for thought, but it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
thinking, but yeah, definitely very similar, and that definitely similar with the love bombing, and I think with Jehovah's Witnesses having the disfellowshipping thing that they have, where they literally, nobody will talk to you, your family won't talk to you, all in the name of upholding their their relationship with God, and it just
Yeah.
never made any sense to me. And there's a lot of other things besides just outright getting disfellowshipped as a Jehovah's Witness. You can get privately shunned, where the word just goes out, and the next thing nobody's talking to you, nobody's really hanging out. They'll talk to you, but it's not like you're getting invited anywhere or any kind of additional conversation or assistance. So it's
Yeah.
kind of sad that people have to grow up in these things. I was like 40 years old before I realized, no, man, I already raised my kids in it,
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
because that's all I knew. And I left many times, but I came back thinking, I got to get myself together. I got to get right with God, and I
Yeah, yeah.
never stopped drinking alcohol, it was all, it wasn't until I finally left the church that all of a sudden I was like, why am I drinking? Why am I
Yeah.
drinking now? And so I gave it a concerted effort over a long time, and I was able to finally stop. And
That's good, bro.
I had stopped before for a couple of years being in the Jehovah's Witness church, but it wasn't able to stay stopped. It was always a massive struggle. But now knowing all these truths, starting with me getting out of that and getting my family out of it, fortunately, all my kids are out. My wife is still having a little kind of trouble with the mental whole construction of how were we do, because she was also raised in it. And since we met together as young people in the congregation, even though we really didn't practice the congregation, we met through that. So there was always this thing like, oh, God put us together, because, it worked
Right,
out.
right.
We're married almost 34 years later. So, and we get along, but we've transitioned together too. So that's what's been the great thing about it. She's, once she seen all the research I was constantly doing and coming back to her with the little tidbits, she would kind of like pull back and stuff. But then more and more so, especially what you're saying earlier about how they promoted, James, I think you were saying about how they promoted the injection in your church.
Yes.
Right. And that's what they were doing at the Jehovah's Witness church. They were going on these video calls. When COVID happened, they switched to a online TV show called JW. Well, I won't say it, but whatever. Um, and they just started having live streams for all their meetings. But they started telling people, like, you need to respect the authority of the government, and pointing to scriptures where pay Caesar's things to Caesar, kind of thing. And it's like, no, that doesn't how do you get involved in this? You guys didn't do your research on these you know,
Yeah.
these things. Hey, I'm not a live streamer, and I did pretty good right there.
Yeah.
That was naturally
Yeah.
flowing. I can't believe I caught
Yep.
it. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, they just accepted whatever was presented to them, you know.
Oh, I
They
don't mean
didn't
to
take the
talk your idea
chance
out.
to leave that circle and actually do their truth seeking themselves. And
Yeah,
for the
I'm
most
so
part, that's what society is, right? We're born into this world with a 10-digit number, and then they give you your social. Your parents give you your name, and then you go from there to elementary school, maybe preschool, depending on the parents. And then they indoctrinate you with the globe and everything else, and you go from there to high school, then college, and then all
yeah.
that stuff. And then,
And you always got to be in a different state to go to college. You know, it's never
right,
like, oh, here, there's a great college right here in California or whatever state you're in. It's like, no, we're going
exactly.
to accept you over here on the other side of the nation. And then the
Yep.
thinking is, yeah, you're going to meet a girl there, or you're going to get a job there. You know, you how many people? It's like kind of almost a thing like you don't go back home. You know, until
Mm-hmm.
maybe Christmas a few years later or something is how it's kind of depicted in movies. You know, and the dude's like, I haven't seen my parents since 3 years after college. It's going to be kind of tense. But he's on the other side of the world. You know, and it's just like scripted movies are so many times like that because that's what they want.
Yep.
From the
It's
time
that
you're
cliche, yeah.
the way
They
they have
just,
it now with women having to work to make everything possible in a family,
yeah. Yep.
the kids are just immediately to daycare, and that's
Yeah.
how it was for me and my wife. We couldn't make it on our own. We were, married very young, and because they try and make you get married young as Jehovah's Witnesses, they want you married as young as possible,
Yep.
and
Didn't know that.
yeah, yeah, and because there's no allocation for dating. There's no allocation for that. If you're dating somebody, you're supposed to pretty much, once you say, let's go out, that pretty much means, will you marry me, kind of thing. And if you go on a couple dates and whatever, then you got to have a chaperone with you. You go on a couple dates, and it doesn't work out, you're cool. But if you went on like 6 months of dates, and then you realize you don't want to, the chick can go to the elders and get you removed or disfellowshipped for playing with her emotions, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Oh, and if you can do that to just maybe 2 or 3 girls, which is what you're supposed to kind of figure out and they're not sleeping with each other, probably are, but they're not supposed to be. So it's not, you can't check that part of it out, which is fine. But what I'm saying is that these guys just on personality realize, oh, I can't deal with this person, and there's no room for divorce in this religion. So, you'll be in big trouble if you divorce somebody outside of them cheating on you. So,
Yeah.
Isn't it true that Jehovah's Witnesses don't vote and don't join the military and those type of things?
yeah, they do have some good things about them as far as I consider that they never celebrated Christmas
Right.
or the pagan holidays or really any holidays, which turns out to be, some of the reasons why you're thinking, well, they do know these things, but
Yeah.
because I remember growing up as a kid, never celebrating Christmas. I can remember like a last couple Christmases or something, but other than that, I just
And I,
experienced.
I agree with those things. I mean,
Yeah, I do now too. Yes,
yeah.
and for a different reason, than
Right.
what they were saying, and but when they, like what you're talking about, when they completely reveal themselves by doing outside things like pushing people to get medical procedures that they should just be entirely up to themselves.
Right.
That's a big reveal right there, among other things. But I hope I didn't take us off the subject for too long here.
No,
No,
but I
you're
will
good, bro.
say,
You're good.
look, going back to the Jimmy Jab, I was at the Seventh Day Adventist Church, and they brought well, I mean, they didn't bring. One of our members was a doctor, and he brought it into the church, and they were trying to get they approached everybody and tried to get them to go and take it.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. At the very least, there's people that infiltrate these things that are just, heading that up, and just like how everything is done, it was really sad because, like, I have a lot of people I still know from there, and some good people that are just fooled. But to hear that they all went, and did what they told them to do under that, and that they were giving like scenarios where, because this person had done it, they got a job here because all the other people lost their job.
yeah.
And I'm like, wow, this is some propaganda here, way outside of the usual.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know why they did it, because if they did it, they would lose their tax exemption.
Right. They're
Wow.
under the thumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that,
Let's go to some chats real quick.
Oh, my bad.
Dang. I missed a lot of chats. They don't preach a lot that they should. Right.
that's right.
Okay, I read that. Sir, just stay away from the big pharma. That's good.
Me
Stay away
too.
from big pharma.
Me too.
Okay, Amanda is incredibly helpful. Thanks, guys. I'll have to catch the rest later. Great finds. Awesome. Glad to have you, Andrea.
Yeah, glad to have you.
And
Oh,
look
Harvey
who's
Fry, hey
here.
man, long time no see.
Yeah.
I hope you're doing well, man.
Glad to have you, brother.
Yes, glad to have you.
He says, I got off work early today. Nice. Kitty. Oh, they like Loyal Tangi's kitty. Most religions are just cults. Yeah, so proud of you, Loyal Tangi. Hey, Andrew. Bruce, okay. Welcome, Mary. Yes, don't do those things.
Yeah, they don't celebrate all those things we were talking about, or vote, or join the military. Uh,
Yes, awesome. Did the church require the shot? I don't think they required it, but
but they promoted it.
yeah, they definitely promoted it. They definitely promoted it. The president went on the news showing a video of him supposedly getting the jibby jab. Any 501c3 churches involved? Yes, all of them are.
Yeah,
All of
if
them
they're
are.
see, go back to that. 501c3 means they get a tax exemption. The pastor literally has to submit his sermon to the IRS 6 months in advance before he actually performs it at the pulpit, because they have to follow the government's guidelines. So, I mean, just to give you an idea.
Yeah. Stay away from the phone. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
He says, I'm doing okay. Thank you, James.
All right. Good to hear. That's good news.
Lord Tandy says he'll be right back.
All right.
Jehovah's Witness. Hello from Kenya. Finally got alive. Welcome, Elijah.
Welcome, Elijah.
And Dolo. Good to have you, brother. Always good to have new peeps. Oh, that's sick. Yeah, it is. It is. Not good. Not good. Alright, back to this. So, this image, as we were just talking about, me and James, this definitely looks like a filter. Alright? It doesn't look like a real, lens. This looks like art or something. But it is, they're claiming it to be a photograph. And of course, they do that because they want to show that the temple is halfway done, as you can see right there.
I mean, the mountain in the background is fading.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's just and it
there's a
looks
few
like
things you can point out. The scratches. I mean,
it's ridiculous, man.
yeah.
Let's go
I
to the
call it bull
next
hockey.
image. Yeah, definitely bull honky.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next one. We saw that one, that one. Here's another one. Okay, see, so you can see the ox here, but then it's black here too. Looks like silhouette here, but there's another bull right beside it. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to prove to us that yes, we did, uh, you know, transport these 2,500 to 5,500 pounds um,
You think that many
stones.
oxes could carry 2.5 tons?
Yeah, that's crazy, man. It's a bunch of lies. You got this guy standing here for God knows what. It's just odd. And then of course you got the I believe Conspiracy RS said that these are I think cycloramas. Did you see that video, James? The cyclorama video that Conspiracy RS did?
Not yet.
Yeah. So that's that picture.
Because I tend to watch more of his recent posts ever since I've discovered him. Uh, all the older stuff are the links that I saved, but he's got a lot of material.
This is hilarious.
See, you can see all that lit up scenery, but look at the people. I mean, bull hockey.
Yeah, it makes no sense. They're all like pitch black, but then you can make out the clothing that he's wearing is white. Crazy. There's so many images on here, guys, that you guys could come and look at yourself. I guess that was their scaffold of that time. If you look at the way this is constructed, it's kind of weird. It almost looks like there's a tent over it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, what is that? Are you gonna? Did you put the sails up? Is that a sail mast? I mean,
Strange. And it doesn't look like a photograph at all. I mean, like I said, you guys gotta go to the website yourself to get the full resolution of what I'm talking about. This is definitely not a photograph. It looks like a drawing or some kind of sketching of sorts. Of course, they got
yeah.
to put the year. They got to put the year 1875 there.
They put the ear so big.
Yeah. Let's see if we went through all these images. Yeah, and keep in mind it is said that they built the city within 25 years.
Yeah,
But then
and
the
remember when you were talking about how you couldn't save the image?
yeah,
You
yep,
you didn't tell them about how you had to download this to be able to get the image because they wouldn't let you screenshot it.
yeah. So if you go to this website, guys, um, you know what? Let me share it in the link right now, and we can test it out right now.
Yeah.
So let's do this right now. I'm not just talking, guys. So here's the link. to the website. If you're on a smartphone, click on that link
And try to
and
screenshot it.
try and take a screenshot.
And tell us what your result is.
If you're able to, then maybe you got an iPhone. I don't know. Because I am unable to. They will not let me. And while you guys are doing that, we'll look through the other photos. Now this one right here is definitely a sketching or a drawing. It's so dark and dim. Like, what the heck were they trying to do? You got a few kids right here just sitting on a or standing on a hill. It's not a photograph, that's for sure. Yeah, see the lighting's different on every single one.
Yeah, the contrast.
Yeah, the contrast. Yeah, see, there's a little bit dynamic range within these trees. You can make out the different shades of colors. But when you come down here, this looks like a drawing, straight up. And the agenda is to make you believe that they indeed built this, structure, the Salt Lake City Temple. Which of course we know they didn't. They discovered it. There's no way you can go with chisel and hammer and horse and buggy and expect to build something that huge.
Yeah, I believe they found it. There's probably even a plaque on the building saying "found it."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is. If you go to the Salt Lake City Temple, there is. Look at this.
Has it ever crossed your mind that "founded" is different than "built"? That
Yeah.
"founded" means they probably found it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I like to always bring that up.
This is crazy. So
Yeah,
if
there's a
you
lot
look
of-
at this, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, in Founded, yeah, it's like it's right there. We've been led to believe that.
Yeah.
It had
Well,
a
we have a friend that we were in a chat with the other day, and since I told him that, it piqued his interest. He's going to go to his church because it's apparently an old building, and see if it says "founded" on it as opposed to "built."
Yeah, or established.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes
Yep.
I've seen both.
That's true.
In a different air, one's in one place and the other one's off to the side or on a placard somewhere. And I always wondering what does that really mean. So I guess founded was when someone found it and claimed it, and then established is whatever they turned it into. I guess from that point.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
This woman looks creepy. You guys see that? This one right here. That looks creepy. Reminds me of Skeletor. But the people look real. These people look pretty real, as far as I can see. But when you get to the building, that looks 100% fake. It looks like a drawing. So there's definitely some
Yeah, it looks like a
editors.
sketch.
Yeah, like a sketch. They knew how to edit, at least for that time, people were fooled very easily.
Absolutely. Photoshop's been around since photography. They
Yep.
figured it out right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I heard that the reason for photography was for Photoshop. Have you guys heard that?
Oh.
Where, yeah, they did photography to basically deceive.
Yeah.
It wasn't just to let's invent a camera and let's take photographs. That'll be cool. No, it was to deceive.
Yeah.
That's what photographs were for, and cameras.
I will say this. I used to watch Bonanza, that old 70s show Bonanza.
Yeah, I watched
And
that.
they did an episode in there where a guy photoshopped himself into a photo to give himself an alibi to prove that he didn't kill the person who he killed. So it's not like it wasn't being talked about back then that it could happen.
Wow, I never heard that.
Yeah, it's an episode where he photoshopped himself in the photo of a group of people who's taking a photo like they do in the westerns, and to give himself an alibi.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they were
So that's just a fun fact.
They figured it out back then, or they didn't figure it out till later.
Yeah. Well, they called it the phrase that they used was like something like double image or
Double exposure.
yes, double exposure. It's called double exposure.
Yeah.
You hit the nail.
Right on. Yeah, I used to mess with photography a little bit. Nothing at all, but I did get like a mechanical 35 millimeter camera, a Canon, and I wanted to do like double exposure and stuff. And so when my daughter was little, I did a few photos, and it was just as simple as not switching to the next frame of the film, and then just taking a picture again with whatever you wanted there, and you could choose between the lighting aperture as to which one was going to be the more dominant in the photo.
See, you just described what Bonanza described.
Yeah, that's an old like I know that was going on at least back then. So yeah, that's criminal genius, right?
Yeah.
He didn't get away with it though, right?
No, he had to go to trial. Yeah.
All right, so you guys look at this image, right? It shows several people, multiple people. You got 3 guys up here, some guys up here on the right hand side. You got this guy just oddly just standing right there, and then some guys here on the ground. But again, silhouette. There's nothing that looks real. You can make out the building better than you can make out the men. And let me just show you guys a really good comparison of a real actual photo from the 1890s compared to this
Good
one.
idea.
So look at this, and now look at this. You see the big difference? You can make out their faces very easily. The trees, I mean the bush behind them, it's very obvious. You can make out their face. So it's not like they didn't have the technology to capture, human faces, because this is well around that time. But that's not the case with images like this. There's definitely you definitely got to ask yourself the question. If you're Mormon and you're straddling the fence, whether you want to leave the church or you know reconsider, just going full Bible, I would recommend you take a look deeper into the church that you're in. And I'm not trying to sway you to, oh, I don't hate the church. I'm not. I don't hate it, but I am against it. I am against what they do because they are deceivers. They
Yeah.
are deceiving the people, just like Jehovah Witness, just like Seventh Day, and other Pentecostal churches. Man, they're not there to give you the full truth. So that's the main reason why I'm calling this facade out. Like it's not good, guys. Yeah, we can laugh at it, and everything, but at the end of the day, there's going to be two sides, and that's good and evil. You have to choose. That's the only reason why I do these videos, is to let you guys know, this is no joke. The Mormon Church is a huge church, guys. Okay, they're not as big as the Catholic Church, but they, like I said, they make around $6 to $8 billion a year.
That's pretty
Okay?
big still. And going back to it, what you started off by saying, I don't hate the church, especially the people either. I do know that
Right,
they
right.
are one of the hardest, if not the hardest people to convince that we're in Satan's little season, at best. So
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I'm glad you mentioned that. Don't hate the people, hate the organizers, because
Right.
the people don't know. And genuinely, there's some real genuine Mormons who truly believe
Yep.
that that that's the real church, and they're so passionate about it. The same way I'm passionate about the earth being flat. You know what I'm saying? So that's how they feel about their religion, but like I said, you know, do your research if you're someone thinking about leaving the church. Were you gonna say something, Loyal?
I was just going to agree with you on, and what you guys saying is my experience is all through the past 3 years. Mormons have been constantly in my neighborhood, you know, and it comes from a good place. They're, what they're doing, these young men, is coming from a good place, and I talk with them from time to time as they pass by, and just I commend them for what they're trying to do. I let them know I don't want to, lead you on. I'm not, joining any religion, but I do understand what you're doing and, why you're doing it. And ultimately, that's a good thing. So
Yeah,
I, and they're like, there's a lot of really good, honest hearted people, Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, but also everywhere. And I find that that's just really the case. And it's about the training, like I was indoctrinated for years and thought I was the one that was wrong. I thought everything, and nothing fit together, and I already had for years had thought about the fact that, Jesus said all these things, that he was going to be back quickly, and that, be prepared, and like, why would you be saying that so long ago if, to this, but oh, maybe it's just that's what the Bible's for, just to let us know, But what about all these people in between? When the Bible says that, when you're harming my people, it's like touching my eye, you know. So
yeah,
when something touches your eye, you react immediately. You stop from whatever it is, you move your eye, you get it away from it because that's just how you naturally respond. So hearing those scriptures emphasized in talks, uh, as a kid, and I was taking it all in. I wanted to please our Creator, and I wanted to be the type of individual that He could be proud of. Um, Always, even when I was failing to do it, but I was set up for failure in this religion that was just so hyper critical of everything and controlling of everything. But you think, well, that's what I need. That they teach you that you don't have the ability to figure anything out. We have to tell you everything, and if it's approved from
yeah,
us, then that's coming from God, is what they ultimately want you to believe. But it
yeah,
just turns out ultimately it's just a lot of control, a lot of interesting facts as to why they do the things they do, as to what one of the reasons why they have no facial hair and they don't allow facial hair for
yeah,
men or women. But
Or women.
or women.
right. But that goes back to a falling out between the first two presidents of the organization. The first guy, he was all natural and like had a full beard and long hair, and then the next guy, who he didn't actually appoint. The first guy never gave his, like, put his hand on the shoulder and said this guy's taking over, even though he knew he was going to be passing away soon. But the guy was kind of in line to take over. When he did, he immediately shaved his beard off. When the guy died, shaved his beard off and made it all his entourage go clean shaven. And from that point forward, it was just do as we did. And then it became
mm,
a rule of the religion where you can't even, uh, you can't even give a comment if you have a beard and you're already like a baptized Jehovah's Witness. If you grow a beard, they're just, now they got more loose on that stuff, but still it's a private shunning, you know. So it's all just, but I could see what Vicnoid's comment earlier is talking about. He goes to a 501c3 church, and it looks like part of the reason because he's single and he's looking for somebody that's right minded. And I can totally see that. I have a friend who's uh, named Anthony who is in that same situation. He sees through all the crap and he knows the truth. But where do you find somebody to marry if you're single? And you're looking for that, and you don't want to go the online route. You'd rather meet somebody in person. So I can totally see how that can work out, especially if you're awake to everything that's going on and you can avoid
Mm,
the entrapment of it all.
I'm glad you pointed that out. Yeah, and I'm just seeing Vic Noid's comment too. Um, and yeah, I agree, man. Like I don't knock the church, the people at the church, but I do knock the organizers.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and I get that people are, they go to church because they believe in Christ and all that, and they wanna find a like-minded believer so that they could be get married or whatever. But as harsh as this sounds, what I'm about to say, I hope you guys understand because this is not my words. Okay, this is straight from scripture, and I'm not going to paraphrase. I'm not going to say it verbatim, but here's the thing, guys. You, marriage is not the priority. Okay, I need you guys to truly understand that. If you're someone who is single, marriage is not the priority. You do not need to get married to fulfill the will of God. Does that
Yeah.
make sense to you guys? Because as
When you
hard
put it
as it
like
was for
that,
me,
yeah.
yeah, as hard as it was for me to understand that, I didn't like it. I didn't like, but then it's not about what I like or I don't like. It's about what the word says, and you are. The word even says sometimes it's even better for a man to be alone because when you're married, Paul says when you're married, you make it harder for yourself because uh, not only do you have to worry about yourself, but you got to worry about your wife, and then if you guys have kids, and then you got kids. So common sense. Paul's just trying to say, if you want to make things easier on you, don't get married. You know what I'm saying? And just that'll allow you to focus more on the Father. And as selfish as that sounds, listen, like I always say, at the end of the day, we're all gonna die, and we're all gonna end up in one or two places. So, and that's the kingdom of God, or that's ceasing to exist. Being away from the Father for eternity. And like I said, don't think that life is all about marriage. It's not. I mean, because you can be single and still fulfill the will of God. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah.
Thumbs up, everyone. Yes, yes. Please give a thumbs up. That definitely helps the algorithm. Welcome, by the way, Nate. Vignoy says my church was only church and area open during COVID. Oh wow, I'm not surprised. Welcome, Emma. Vignoy says they don't know they are deceiving because seminary taught them that. Yes, I agree. Yep. Okay, someone has to be there to tell them what's really going down. Satan's little season, but okay.
Yeah.
The Great Awakening. There's two different branches right now. The Millennial Kingdom beliefs. One believes that Satan returned 1800s, and the others believe it was 1600s. I've seen a lot of proof of 1600s over 1800s. I think a different event happened in the 1800s, though, just not the return of Satan. I feel like it is very likely it was the 1600s. How do you figure? Would love for you to elaborate on that Great Awakening. What do you guys
Well,
think
he's
about that?
Great Awakenings. I know some people that believe it was 1666. Uh,
Hmm.
but I know other people that believe it was 1776. So, and then I guess I think I even in one of my videos said, uh, sometime in the 1800s, it seems like Satan added 1,000 years to our calendar. Um, so, I mean, it's something to consider.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
consider all things.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I generally tell people nobody really knows. I don't know.
that's true.
I
We,
don't
we
know.
nobody can truly confirm it, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, I know what you mean. Well, was the only ones who come around are Jehovah Witnesses. Oh, okay. If you have children, church is a great place for them to make like-minded friends, stay out of the world, and they have fun events. I agree, they do.
That's very true.
Good fellowship too. You can find some good fellowships at some
That's
501c3
basically the only
churches.
reason why I was going to church the most after I became post millennial was for my son for Sunday school.
Yeah, you don't want to completely isolate yourself, from the world. That's kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to go and visit, 501c3 churches. Nothing wrong with that. It just all depends on where your spirit is at. What is your agenda? What are you doing? What is your plan? Are you just there to hang out? It's all up to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my experience as Joe Witness was, uh, I was in over my lifetime maybe 4 different Kingdom Halls, and each and every one was very very strict on uh, overly having any over entertainment. So like parties were almost non-existent, or gatherings. We'd have like the most common thing would be like in the summer, maybe once there would be a picnic where everybody would go to the park and bring food and stuff. And that would be a fun event. But if you tried to do that, say like 2 weeks in a row or anything like that, you get pulled aside, and the guy that was organizing it would get pulled aside, And
Hmm.
uh, uh, I remember one time I had gotten like I wasn't baptized, but I had got private reproof, which it leaks out so everybody knows. So if you're not baptized, you can't be disfellowship, but they can still get you. You
Yeah.
know, they just put the word out, and it's the same exact thing. Basically, it used to be called disassociated, and that can happen for just making out with a girl, even if you go and confess it. If it's still just depending on the politics of who it was, who you are, comes into play many times, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it was always uh, I was told several times, because I always wanted to have fellowship. I knew how important that was with good people, and
Be right back.
I was trying to stimulate fellowship into the congregation I was in, because it was very, very non-associating, associative. It was just go to a meeting, go out in your field service. Maybe you got a donut or a coffee or something. Then it's just home, and then you're not supposed to have any outside friends, because they're very strict about, becoming unevenly yoked kind of thing, and they don't realize that Jesus sat with sinners and talked with these individuals, and that's how a lot of them were helped. But we were, just basically, you could not have any outside friendships. You could have acquaintances and stuff like that, but there's no going out after work, even for an innocent drink or anything like that. Very much frowned on. If they found out or someone saw you somewhere and mentioned something, you could get called on the carpet for it. And it's just so many side things to trying to get to a relationship with the Father that you have to deal with along the way. And it's just ridiculous, and saturates your soul with all this negative surrounded with it, like, yeah, you're trying to do good, you're doing good, but it's still, especially there, it was just not enough. And entertainment or any kind of like having too much fun, going to amusement parks, going on vacation, being physically fit. Like if you were, say, you start looking really good, you could get called on the side like, hey brother, notice obviously spend a lot of time at the gym. Is it possible you're neglecting any of your spiritual activities? So it's like, oh, you got to get fat to please this guy. And it could be just a personal opinion of one of these elders, or maybe somebody just doesn't like you. On the other hand, there are a lot of honest hearted people in there that try they're just deceived. But do have control over you and can basically end your life within that realm very easily based upon a judgment that they, claim is going to be from above.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree with Vic Noid's comment that's on the screen. For the most part, I'm definitely always happy to pay a visit to a church that preaches repentance for sure. Uh, uh, Subjects such as the dangers of hell, uh, especially. I've been to a lot of churches. I grew up Pentecostal. Um, I've been into the Southern Baptist Church, United Methodist Church,
Wow.
and
Hmm.
Seventh Day Adventist as well. It's funny too because Mormon Church, Jehovah's Witness, and Seventh Day Adventist were all pretty much established around the same time period.
Yes.
Yeah, and I thought I was finally in the right place with the Seventh Day Adventist Church because they go to church on Saturday because they keep the Sabbath, and
Right.
but I
Put 'em-
never quite believed that the mark of the beast was going to be Sunday law. It doesn't make sense. That just means if anybody what about people who are going to church on Sunday? They could just easily just stop and go to church on Saturday. It
Yeah.
just how is that enforcing? I mean, what? You know, it's like it's like they're very good on historicism, for instance. But it led me to think that they were, 100% on Bible history. But then their description of the Antichrist's deadly wound was when General Berthier took the Pope in the 1800s into captivity, and uh, until the Catholic Church was finally established in 1926, adds up to the time frame of the Antichrist's deadly wound healing. And that was the deadly wound. So then I'm starting to say, well, that's two things that I just can't believe with. And, so I finally decided, they may be 98% right about biblical truth, but they're 2% wrong. And so they're 2% lies. And, it's like rat poison. Take rat poison, for instance. It's 98% grain and only 2% poison. Knowing that, do you think you would still eat it? So I left the church and I told him. Plus, the usher it in the C-19 regulations and mandates and wearing masks. I just couldn't take it no more, and I walked
Mhm.
away.
Yeah, well, that's very interesting too. Like that watching from the outside, seeing that here the Jehovah's Witnesses have proclaimed that they were never going to stop their preaching work, and I've always said even under persecution in other lands, they've been put in jail and stuff like that for not listening to the government telling them not to preach. Well, they just completely shut down. They started doing what was called like phone witnessing, where they were just randomly calling up numbers and trying to spread the message. Some people were doing that. Some people were writing letters where they just get people's addresses and send a message through that.
Yeah,
But going from door to door or standing on the corner like they did completely stopped. And that's just in complete violation of what they had always taught us, that, we were going to, be martyrs potentially, for the preaching work. We weren't going to stop it until only God said stop it,
right.
And no, something stopped it completely there. You know,
Yeah, our church definitely stopped too. To be honest with you,
I was like, no, that's not right. You know, that's not. Especially then when I seen Mormons still coming around, I was like, well, somebody's still doing it. You know, these
yeah,
people aren't listening to the word of man in this aspect. You know,
Yeah.
right.
so
Yeah.
that was one thing that also really perked my wife's ears to everything that I've been sharing with her beforehand, even though she was, you know, a quarter of the way along.
Does your wife believe like you believe?
Now she does, yes.
So does my amen. First of all, and so does my wife. She's on my page, and really, I just had to show her, and she did some critical thinking herself. She thought I
Yeah,
was crazy at first. I mean, about flat Earth. That
right,
that was the hardest. That was the hardest thing to convince, but it didn't take her long once she started. She thought who I was listening to. Uh, I mean, she already judged that they were Looney Tunes, so she was telling me not to listen. But when she listened to him, she realized, no, these are sane people. They don't sound like they've lost their mind.
right.
So she was, aptable to listen.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
know that they were, like I said, and what you were talking about, they were pushing the thing,
yeah,
you know, and she had she said, well, I would have gotten it had I still been thinking that way, you know, because they were just, you know, you think they're telling you what's right. She
right.
goes, I wouldn't have and she had severe problems with her job because they were trying to get her to get it, and the company she works for, out of almost the whole company, she's like the only one that didn't take it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amen.
Wow.
And they had
Amen.
threatened.
I mean, and that's sad because I mean, you'd think that at least, I mean, nobody wanted to hear her side, I guess.
Right. And you know, she's the one, she makes the majority of the income in my family,
Yeah.
just because of how good she is at what she does. And so it would have been a definite major life change for us had they had decided to let her go. But now she's kind of like, you know, imagine she's just with most of the people, she's kind of like they're very what are you saying? They're impressed with her holding stand, you know, holding firm to what she stood for and the reasons why, you know. And now she's got to hear the sad stories of it. Like they're not even, you know, and now this company isn't even, they don't care if you get it or not now,
Oh,
you know,
Yeah.
wow.
at least for the time being. So uh we were
Did
just,
you ever think that it was the mark of the beast though?
I don't know if I thought it was the mark of the beast, but I just thought that it was um, something bad for us, you know. Like I saw,
Right.
I knew. Well, you know, I'm old enough to remember on the back of the Lysol bottle when I was sitting on the toilet as a kid looking at something to read, and I always saw cures coronavirus, or you know, it said on the back of the Lysol bottle.
Yeah.
You know, so
Hmm.
See, I had to
here just
I had to
labeling.
really put my tail between my legs because I was telling people it was the mark. I totally fell for that, and so bad that one of my Facebook friends was on probation for the next several years still, and she's now in Mexico. Um, and I, it's because of people like me. She was living in New Hampshire, and in her area, it was very big. Wear masks and go out and take it. And uh, she heard about in I think it was the state of Ohio, the judge or the Supreme Court of that state, whatever you want to call them, mandated that all probationary people go and receive it, or else they go to prison. And So she jumped. She crossed the she first of all she crossed the state line. You're not allowed to cross state line when you're on probation, and she's in Mexico. She's gone. They don't know where she is. So obviously she's wanted now, and she doesn't want to return because she said she'll go to prison for 7 years, and it's because of people like me. So it's because of me. I mean, and I don't know what to say. I told her to just come back because American prison is not as dangerous as Mexico, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, where she's at.
I don't know where
What do
she's
you think?
at. Yeah, I don't know where she's at, but I know Mexico isn't as bad as they claim to us. I've been there many times, you know. It's actually
Okay, really?
the very first part of it, like TJ and stuff like that, and you know, you got to watch yourself anywhere, but Mexico isn't too bad actually, especially if you know, in a lot of the areas, you know, and a lot of the people that were bad are over here anyways. Maybe, I don't know, but 'cause why would you leave an area that's, you know, yeah, Mexico is beautiful. I
Yeah,
mean, so beautiful down in there when you get down past the main cities. But as far as the you know, I did like think along the lines that potentially it was like the mark of the beast, but more so I was just like I was looking at it from, you know, just there, I already realized the government doesn't care about us, you know, and I already knew that we were facing some sort of uh, um, something coming up with the Gates speeches on population problems and things like that, you know.
yeah,
And then I was never really a person for those things that go in your arm, you know.
yeah. Well, I'll
So
tell you what, I never got the flu, in Jimmy Jab either.
yeah, I did it one time because my work partner like convinced me to it, and in our office we had a little medical building that was giving them out. So I just went over there and got it, and I got for the next 2 years I was sicker than I ever had been. Looking back, I never
Really?
really was sick before. I was just doing it as preventative. I mean, I was doing landscaping business, and I was out every day having to work. So I was like, you know, I got to make sure I'm rock solid for this next season coming up. So, but I just got sick, and then for like 2 years after that, I got the same kind of sickness, and but I refused to ever get that again.
Yeah.
And but I didn't realize I got sick because of that until years later. You know,
Right, right. Yeah, because
so
I never
none
took
of it
it,
makes
but
sense.
I have gotten the flu.
Yeah,
But I've heard of people just like what you just said. You never get sick, and then so you take it, and then bang, you get sick. So I mean,
and it obviously is some kind of because I was like identical sickness is pretty bad for like 2 weeks, and then I get better almost, and then I get sick for like another week and a half. You know, they really
yeah,
go through it, and it was the same identical thing. And I was like, I never dealt with this, and along the lines, you know, I like always early on doing research on different things, you know, you come across back then, yeah, you know, don't, you know, these aren't good for you and this, that, and the other. And at the very least, you know, it's a portion of the virus that you don't have in you, you know. So it's like, I don't know. Uh, I definitely don't get them now. None of my grandkids. See, I'm really fortunate because when I started getting away from all of that religion and thinking of the medical doctors were out for us for good and everything, I I don't know why I'm going up here. I actually hold on a second. I'll be back.
While you do that,
Let me finish. Yeah, let me fix this.
I'm gonna go back to this. So I wanted to point this out too, guys. I wanted to point out that when you look at these photos, you're not gonna see very many people. All right, as big as the town was, you know, it is said that they were done with the town before the temple was done. So the temple was basically 90% done right here. that means the whole town was already done before that. But what do you see? What, a few people? A dirt road? You know what I'm saying? So that's a big red flag too. And another thing I wanted to point out to you guys was, did you guys know that Joseph Smith has literally no photograph of himself? And people will be like,
They're all
well,
drawings.
yeah, they're all drawings. But then if you know Brigham Young is older. He's older than Joseph Smith. But he has a photo right here. So this is a photograph of Brigham Young. Okay, that's not a drawing. That's a photograph. All right, and this was around the time uh, Joseph Smith was alive. However, you have Joseph Smith here with no photograph. You're just going to see paintings and drawings of Joseph Smith. You will never find a photograph of him. Okay? And what I'm about to say is going to probably make you guys feel like, whoa, hold on, Tala. You sure? You sure about that? And maybe we'll get into that on a part 3. But
Brace yourself.
Joseph Smith, folks, Joseph Smith is African American. Well, I can't say
With the,
American, but
didn't he have
Joseph
a beard?
Smith, he's African. Okay?
Yes.
And if you do more research on it, you'll know why they killed him, and then why they got rid of him. Because he didn't want to, for the most part, he didn't want to, he didn't agree. He didn't agree with what the Masons wanted to do. Because, I mean, if you study who the Mormons are, then they were all Masons. Okay, they admit it. Brigham Young admits it. Joseph Smith admits it on LDS.org that they were all Masons. Okay, so they were going to do some things that Joseph Smith didn't agree with. So they didn't kill him because of his faith. They killed him because he simply didn't agree with what they were trying to do. And on top of that, they had a story. Okay? So you always need to kill the sheep. You need to kill the lamb of God, if you will, right? Just to make it look like, oh, yeah, our church is the true church. We got to get rid of Joseph Smith, Let's get rid of him so we can make it look more of a story, So it guys, if you look deeper into this, like I said, I'll do a part 3 because we're already an hour and 42 minutes in. And then
Yeah.
I'll do a part 3 where I'll just be explaining and showing you the documents and some photos of the African Joseph Smith that I found. So, and this
I will
isn't new
say, I
information.
suspect that they don't just do it with Joseph Smith, but they've done it with many of people who
Yes.
want to do the right thing. I mean, I think that's why Abe Lincoln was offed. I think that's why JFK was offed. And those are just two that we've all know for at least. But I mean, I think they do it with celebrities. I think they do it with, you know, anybody who has a voice.
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, that's common sense, right? It's simple thing to understand. Joseph Smith didn't have any photographs that you could find, but he was younger than Brigham Young. Brigham Young has tons of photos of himself. All right, they're not paintings, as I just showed you guys. He has photographs of himself during the time Joseph Smith was alive. So you can't say, oh, well, they didn't have cameras during that time. They definitely did, guys. And you're never going to find a photograph of Joseph Smith. You're just not going to. So that's a big red flag right there, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's
Hello,
a
Armored Raven.
group.
Welcome, Armored Raven.
I don't know what the time
Hey,
frame.
Armored Raven.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Loyal.
Oh, I don't know what the time frame was, but there's a group called the Moors who were a black race, and they were in power for, so evidently in power at some time. I wonder if the name Mormons came from that.
Mm.
I've heard of the Moors. I have.
Yeah.
I've heard of the Moors. Yeah.
So yeah, guys. So be,
California is actually named after a black princess, Kali.
yeah, I remember you were telling me about that
I
a couple
just came
months ago.
across the video that was talking about that as well,
Yeah.
Loyal.
You want to touch up on that?
Oh, it's just she's a goddess of destruction or something, you know.
Yeah.
I'm can't remember exactly everything about it, but I do know that a lot of the cities, you know, in California, like Los Angeles, you know, um, apparently is, you know, the angels, or is it Lost Angels? You know, is it Lost Angels? Is it you have the city of Malibu, which Molly is some sort of evil entity, as well as Boo. And then
Oh,
all around that area, you have like things called Lost Hills, Lost Virginis, Thousand Oaks. Oak trees are pretty much the considered the devil tree in
Hmm.
many
really?
in many occult type practices. So yeah, there's a lot of weird names of cities out here. When you figure out what they are and you do the research on them, they're all pretty evil.
And a lot of them are native, right? Like you know how in Washington they got, Snoqualmie, they've got Issaquah, they got all these native names, but there's got to be a meaning behind it. So
Right.
what you're saying, that'll be make for a good video too.
Are you near LA or what part of Cali are you?
I'm at the on the border between Santa Barbara County and Ventura,
See,
like
I
in
don't
that.
know counties like because I'm in Kingman, Arizona. I'm 6 hours away from LA. I'm not too far.
Oh, nice. I'm hoping to take a trip to Sedona soon.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
you'll come right through my city, so
Maybe
you
I'll
should
look it up.
definitely hit me up and we can
That
meet.
would be cool. That would be
Yeah.
cool.
Sedona
Nice.
is a nice place. I went because, for instance, I went to Prescott for my honeymoon because I'm on probation and I can't. I was going to go to California, but then I had to jump through some red tape to get a travel permit. So we decided to go to Prescott, and a lot of people spoke very well of Sedona. This was just on the 4th of July recently. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be really pretty there, and Prescott's nice too. The whole all of Arizona is
Well,
beautiful.
I want to live in Prescott, but it's expensive. So, I mean, I'm going to,
Yeah, I
it's,
have a friend that lives there. He built his own whole little get up, you know, little by little with really little experience prior, and did a great job. And he's got some pigs and some chickens and stuff like that, and
sweet.
pretty happy for him. Yeah, and then shortly after that, yeah, Prescott got kind of expensive.
Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful. It's not as hot because, I mean, it could get up to 111 degrees
Yeah.
where I'm at. I'm still considered high country because I'm 3,000 feet, above the ocean, and it does snow here sometimes too. So I mean, it could get cold in the winter, but it could get hot in the summer. But it's always 10 degrees cooler in Prescott than it is where I live.
Oh, nice,
Yeah,
nice. Yeah, I'll message you when maybe in February or March, somewhere around there. I'm gonna try and head up over there. I'm been wanting to check out Sedona because they say it's got some real good frequency vibes going on through there. Plus, it also looks like there's a lot of hidden structures
yeah. Well,
potentially.
I'll tell you right now, Arizona looks like melted. It definitely looks like Armageddon came through.
Yeah, I was doing Google Earth over Sedona and all of that area, even Prescott and stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff from the sky you can see when you're way up, you know, and then zoom in. You're like, what was this? You know, what
Wow.
this was not nothing. It's here.
Yeah,
It's like when people like when I'm trying to like give somebody some truth there and they start going like, you know, twisting their head and going, I don't know. I'm like, well, what is it? It's not nothing. It's something. It's there. You know.
Right.
yeah. Get them thinking.
Going through some chats now. We missed a whole lot. Went out from the land of Egypt. Okay.
Chat's popping off. Nice.
Yeah, I enjoy seeing others look at the evidence around us and be open to it pointing at the millennium reign already occurring. The short season mentioned in the Bible sure does look like a match for today. Indeed.
Amen. That's I 100% on board with that.
100. Okay, grateful. Then there's this one Galatians 3:17 through 18, and this I say that the covenant that was confirmed before of Yahweh in Christ, or Yahweh, the law, which was 430 years after, cannot disannul that it should make.
Disannul, I think it said.
Thank you,
Thank
Vignoid.
you.
The promise of none effect, for if the inheritance be of the law, it is no more of promise, but Yahweh gave it Abraham by promise.
Okay.
Me too, it's very fascinating to look at all of it. Same
Yeah.
here, no way. Okay. Great Awakening, yes. There are 2 videos by Exploring Tartaria named. Anybody know what happened to Exploring Tartaria?
We were just talking about her today. I mean,
Yeah.
she announced that she was going to be gone for a while, and she said possibly a year or so, and
Huh.
Yeah.
but she said she'll be back.
We'll
I
see.
guess she's gathering more info.
Yeah.
Probably. She
I
probably
will
got.
tell you this: the Roku channel has this new channel you could download. The Roku TV, our Roku TV, has a channel you could upload called Burrow. It talks about Tartaria, and her 2 videos, Timeline Deception, are the first ones in that category.
What is it called on Roku?
Burrow, like a rabbit burrow. It's got a logo of a rabbit going into the hole,
How do
spelled
you spell that?
Burrow. Burrow. I mean, it's got all the truther information that we've all searched for, that we've had to go to Rumble and BitChute and Odyssey to find. Now they're just giving it to everybody. And yeah, so Explore Tartaria's 2 videos of the Timeline Deception and the part 2 are the first ones in the Tartaria category.
Okay,
Yeah,
so Burrow. So
Yes,
that's
Burrow.
on Roku, guys. If you have a Roku TV, that's a smart TV where,
Search
you
Burrow.
know,
It'll come up. You'll see it.
so it's basically an app, right, on the Roku.
Yeah, it's one of the channel apps. It's you have to load it onto your homepage.
Perfect. Okay. Read that already. Read that. Eric Anthony says, love, welcome, Eric. Play Civil War in the Wild Wild West. Masons used the Masonic star. Everybody was black during the millennial reign due to the sevenfold sun. How do you figure? You guys know
I'm
anything
not on
about
board with that.
Huh?
I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't either. Abraham Lincoln Christ was black too. Yeah. That's what I heard too. Abraham Lincoln was black. I heard he was a thug too.
Yeah.
But you still see photos. It's not like they only show Abe Lincoln with drawings.
Everybody was black until Gog and Magog. I don't know about that. You sure about that, Eric? The millennium was the bomb for sure. YHWH to Abraham, worship me and I will. Satan to Jesus, worship me and I will. Jesus says the Father tempts no one. What Lucifer wants most is to be worshipped. He sure does. My explanation
Yeah.
of the 1600s was above. I answered your question when you have time to check it out. It's pretty interesting. I mentioned Satan Unbound. There's part 1 and 2. There is so much hidden history here in Wales, UK. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'll check my Roku. Thanks for letting us know.
Yes, no
You
problem.
guys are making me laugh. We got some comedians up in here. So yeah, uh, we're like about almost 2 hours in,
Yeah, almost two
and
hours.
don't know if you guys want to keep going. I really don't mind, honestly. But if you guys want to say anything or
I mean, I don't have anything else to say. I think I've said everything I wanted to, because I thought, this was a great idea to show people about the Mormon temple in Salt Lake City, and you know, that's I've said all I could say. So I mean, I'm glad that you had me. The comment section looked pretty good. It didn't seem like there was anybody who got triggered. So I want to give a shout out to all the people participating in the chat.
Definitely.
Love you all, and that's all I have to say, man. Thanks for having me, Tala.
always welcome, brother. Loyal.
Yeah, just great. Grateful to be a part of this community. Because I don't attend a church. So the people that I can talk with, or get like-minded conversation going on is
Hmm.
right here, and so I'm grateful for that, and um, for all the people that show up in chat and have good questions and good comments. I'm appreciative of that too, and just hope that everybody continues to look for truth, and search and make the necessary adjustments like they already have, because everybody here has made changes to their ways that they were trained to think, and that's a
Yeah,
big step that people have to do. It's a losing of your ego, because it's very difficult to admit that you are duped, even when it's obvious to you, and to then
Hmm.
go ahead and present it to others, the truths that have been hidden, and like what we were talking about, Tala, you have people that just look at you weird. People, like I just mentioned before, I had somebody say, wow, once you started talking about, I used to look up to you, bro. What happened, man? Like,
Yeah.
and inside, you're just like, oh, like, and really, that dude hasn't been in contact with me really at all since,
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
yeah, but on the other hand, I'm not gonna conform my ways to make friends or anything like that. I want to be friends with our
Hmm.
creator and with all the things that he wants. That's what I want to be a part of. So if people don't see it right away, maybe they will, because seeds get planted. And I do have friends that at one time basically looked at me the same way. Didn't say I used to look up to you, but kind of looked at me, and then later on started asking more questions about it. Just left it alone, and then now they believe in some of the truths. They've been able to,
Wow.
and so that's what we're here to do: just help others to see the truths that we know that are there. We
Yep.
have a whole hidden history called the Dark Ages. And we have
Yep.
all these great content creators that cover Tartaria and stuff, um, but they don't make that final connection as to what it all is about and what it all means,
Yeah.
and what it actually is. We here are in this pretty much realm of evil influence that's constant, and but that's happening because they can't completely establish their evil. So what's so simply holding them back without really us seeing it happen?
Yes.
Their efforts are, they're struggling to be able to do what they've accomplished, and their limit is up soon. You know,
Yep.
and whatever form you believe of our Creator's plan, it's something that's going to work out good for us no matter what. For those that are truth seeking and righteous hearted. It's like
Yes.
liars will not inherit God's kingdom, and by believing in lies and spreading lies, that's kind of a part of that kind of thing. If you're not
Yeah.
looking to, if something touches your brain and you're like, yeah, that does make sense, but no, that can't be right. When you see all these things spread out before you, then you're a part of that lie. You become a liar.
Yep. Especially if you don't do nothing about it.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. Your fear of man.
Yep.
Fear of your ego, and I don't want to seem like I could be wrong. So I'll just continue on with something that doesn't really make sense. It's just you enslaved yourself for life that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to be here, man. I'm glad you're doing all this hard work, Tala. I'm just so appreciative of you getting on the mic and doing what you got to do, even with the little baby girl in the picture. That's awesome.
Me too.
Big commendations for that. Some people think, well, I can't do this because there might be some noise in the background. Don't even ever sweat that, brother. It's like it tickles my heart when I hear that little baby make a noise, and like you're just right there still taking the time out, for the family, but also taking the time out for spiritual things too.
Yep.
So
appreciate
don't ever apologize.
Well, there you guys have it, man. I mean,
I do want to thank Great Awakening for confirming Explore Tartaria's channel. Apparently she had a Telegram, and she went through some weird drama. So
I was about to respond to that too, but
okay.
Yeah. So Great Awakening, I appreciate you letting us know that. But like you said, don't know what happened. But other than that, you guys heard it here. What James had to say, what Loyal had to say. At the end of the day, it's always about good and evil, guys. Whose side are you on? And like Loyal said, whatever form or entity you feel that is, know this. Know that there are absolute truths. Okay? Because if everybody can have their own opinion, then what's the point? What's the point? So we can just color our own reality? You know what I'm saying? So there's no order. I don't see any order in that. And then some people would say, well, what is the point of order? Do you need to have order? Is order even necessary? Well, I believe, 1 + 1 is 2. That's order. Okay, regardless of what you think. You're not going to go to school thinking 2 + 2 is 11. You know what I'm saying? There's order, guys. Okay, you need to understand that. I understand that it feels good to have your opinions. It feels good to feel like, well, I think I found this or I found that, whatever. There's moral absolutes and there's absolute truths. That absolute truth is Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach, and the Father. I call him the Father. I'm not too sure about the name Yahweh, Yahuwah, whatever. So I just try and play it safe and call him the Father. But I appreciate you guys all being here, and I hope we can do this more often, Loyal and James. It was fun, man, dissecting the Mormon Church and exposing them as best as we can right now. But like we said, it's not just the Mormon Church, guys. It's basically all the 501c3 churches. But thank you guys all for being here. There's nothing much that needs to be said. Yep. And as always, you guys be safe out there. Be blessed. Until next time.
Amen.
You say one word, I say. You say one word, I say.